Gabe, we were just talking about you being the newest diamond.
Yay!
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Super excited about it.
Yay! Okay, so I know Rochelle is popping on, but what we wanted to talk about today is so once you become diamond, you kind of have to have that next platform, that next goal setting for what you want to achieve. And being that we're at the very beginning of 2017, it's so perfect hello, Rochelle, to get your ducks in a row now. Because I know that at the beginning of last year, Raquel and Laura and myself, we were all diamond. But we were kind of in this limbo. We didn't really know what we were shooting for or what to do. And so we all decided, like, we're going to be elite. But literally, we didn't really figure out what elite was until probably July or August. And so then we were trying to figure out what we had done wrong and could we fix it? And it was kind of just all over the place. Now, as a diamond, do you need to have the goal of premier or elite? Absolutely not. However, those are kind of like your big humdingers that are going to help make sure that your business is propelling forward. It helps you to know that you're building a business that produces other leaders in your downline. So if that's your goal, then that's a good marker to shoot for, because you know along the way you're going to hit all those other things that mean better leadership, more income, all that jazz. So we're going to talk about what it actually means to be premier and elite, and then the qualifications, deadlines, and then tips and that sort of thing. And then we'll have questions at the end. So I'm going to let Raquel go first, because she's going to talk about what it means and what the points mean.
Okay, guys, so there are two big categories of recognition at the end of the year. The first one is to be a premier coach. And what that means is you are a 2-star diamond and you've accumulated enough points. I'm going to break down how you earn points in just a minute. But premier, I think everybody at the very least in this group should shoot for premier. That's 2 stars, a diamond on your right leg, a diamond on your left, by the end of 2017. Ooh, that feels weird. The next rank up is to end as an elite coach, and that's to be a 5-star diamond, which means you have to have at least 2 diamonds on one leg and 3 diamonds on the other, having all hold for the magical 6 weeks. We know that if you want to become a star, that means once your coach becomes diamond, that is awesome. But in order to earn that star, they have to hold that diamond spot for 6 weeks. And that's really the craziness when we're trying to hold everybody. That's why we try to get everybody to be as strong as possible, so that you can have everybody hold their rank for 6 weeks. So again, elite, 5 stars, premier is 2 stars. Both are awesome. You get early access to sign up for the Success Club trip, which if you tried to sign up for the Success Club trip last year, it's like fills up super fast. You get jackets, you get on the floor seats at Summit, you get to walk the stage at Summit, in the big shopping experience, the core at Summit, where you get to go buy all the fun stuff. You get like VIP, you don't have to go through the lines with that status. And then Beachbody, I will say one of the best things, we talked about how their little Success Club little things aren't really that good, bobbleheads aren't that great, whatever, they give you like little goofy gifts. But I'll tell you right now, as you get to go to these like conferences as premier and elite, they spare no expense. Another great thing about ending the year as a premier is they have the New Leader Conference, which is in January. I went to it last January, and I'm telling you right now, like, wonderful dinners, drinks, great speakers, gift bags, swag bags. Like I said, they spare no expense. They really go out in the conferences. Jessica got to go to leadership when you hit elite. She got to go to leadership in October in San Diego. This next year it's going to be in Las Vegas, and it's just awesome. So those are definitely things that we want you to be shooting for. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and talk to you about points. So we know we need to have the diamonds, and now we're going to talk about points. So the second Friday of every month, if you go into your office, you can go to my reports or my qualifications, I think, and it will bring you the report. I'll go ahead and bring mine up in just a second for us so that you can see. I think I'm in the wrong business center, but so you can see what that report looks like. But I'm just going to quickly go through this because it's super confusing, and I swear we had to read it like 11 billion times last year to understand, but now we know. Okay, so in order to qualify for elite, you need to earn 135 points. Again, be a paid 5-star diamond or higher at least once in December. And then you need to advance 2 personally sponsored coaches to a paid rank of diamond. So even though Jessica and I are 5-star diamond, if we want to be elite next year, we have to pop 2 more diamonds. So it's kind of like an encouragement that you can't just rest on your laurels. You got to continually be growing. And then from here, how to earn elite points. This is where it gets confusing. I don't expect all of us to grasp the concept right now, but no worries. We're here to help you when you have questions. You're like, I have no idea what ATV is. We will help you. So basically, ATV is advanced team volume. That is the entire volume that you and the organization that you have created, the amount of volume points you've earned. So for instance, we will get our tally of 2016. What was our team volume for 2016? To make things easier, let's just say my team volume for 2016, our entire organization, was 100,000 points. Okay. Every time you increase that, so once I get to, in 2017, I get to 110,000 points, I get 1 point. And you're probably thinking, oh, great. That's going to take a long time to do. And I will say your ATV points you earn later in the year, because again, you have to beat your volume from last year and then increase it by increases of 10,000 to get a point. So again, super confusing. I don't expect you to know it all the way, but that's kind of what we're trying to shoot for. The next thing is, for every 500 PV produced by personally sponsored coaches who enroll in 2017, you get 1 point. So we are officially January 1st, 2017. Any new coaches you sign this year, once they produce 500 personal volume, that can be through their own Shakeology order. That's why it's good to sign coaches now early. If they're just discount coaches, you're probably, 90, probably by June, you'll start earning a point for them because they'll have surpassed that 500 PV. If they're working coaches, that's anything that they're going to personally sell or personally purchase. Every time they get 500 PV, you get a point. And again, that's why we really do a big push. You're about to see all of the top coaches, probably tomorrow morning, do big pushes to recruit right now, because January, February, March, this is the time to recruit, to allow your new coaches in 2017 to build up that PV, which is going to help you get those points. This is a new one, number 3. For every 500 PV produced by new customers who enroll in 2017. So a big thing that Beachbody is really trying to push is retention of customers. We don't want, which is why they have the all access. We want people to stick with us for an entire year plus. We don't want them to just do 21 days, 30 days, whatever. So as you sign on new customers in 2017, and they stay on Shakeology. Again, Shakeology is 90 PV. So as long as they stay on Shakeology for 5-6 months, they're going to be producing that 500 PV, and you will be getting another point for that. So that's kind of a new category. They haven't had that before, but they're really stressing retention of customers to help them get the best results, because that's what we do as coaches. And then for each month, a personally sponsored coach enrolled in 2016 or 2017, every time they qualify for Success Club 5, you get a point. That's called your Success Club 5 base. So this means any coach that I signed last year and any coach I signed this year, every time they hit Success Club, I get a point. My 2015 coaches, once they hit Success Club, obviously that's a great thing. That's going to grow their business. That's going to grow my volume. Of course, I'm excited about it, but I don't get points for that. It's only coaches that enrolled in 2016 and or 2017. So this is how you earn the points. The goal is 135. Another thing that they've started to do, which I think is really exciting to do this, is leadership development points. So again, Beachbody really wants us to sponsor coaches, but not just sponsor and say, good luck, figure it out, but really say, okay, I'm going to help you. So anytime one of your personally sponsored coach advances from 1-star diamond all the way up to 5-star diamond, you get 25 points, which is huge. So let's say they jump from 1-star diamond, 2-star diamond, 3-star diamond, you get 75 points. So 25 as they advance each time. Every personally sponsored coach that qualifies for the team leader rung on the leadership ladder, you also get 25 points. Again, if you're not familiar with that leadership ladder, definitely encourage you to look at it. I think I posted the photos in our VIP Diamonds. If not, I will post them there for all the requirements. But once you become a team leader, that's showing that you have a really solid foundation. You're a really strong diamond or star diamond, whatever you may be. That's just showing you have a really strong foundation for a business. And if you help your coaches hit those leadership ladders, you also get huge points. Like to hit 25 points for that, here we're talking about earning 1 point at a time, right? But if you can help your coaches succeed in their business, you're getting 25 points, which is awesome. So that's kind of all I'm going to go through. Is there anything I missed there, Jessica, on that you think I should hit on?
No, I think that's, the more simple that you keep it, the better, because you kind of figure out as you go, but top priority is that. And definitely the changes are so phenomenally helpful. I know that when I was at leadership, they talked about this so much because people were freaking out because Elite was super hard to hit this year. And there's a lot of top coaches who were stressing. And because Beachbody's really moving, like Raquel said, to focusing on the customer and focusing on making sure the customer gets good results, that they had to tie that into the Elite points, because it doesn't make sense for the coach if they can only earn points from other coaches. So now you can earn points from customers, which is huge. And I will tell you the points, which Laura will talk about this later, but literally the requirements are 135. And I was able to secure some multipliers this year, so I'll have a lot more points, but I literally on my own ended with 136 points. Like, can we talk about Sweatfest? So start tracking your points now. They become available February 10th.
Yeah,
that's the first report that you'll get, because that'll help you a lot.
Let me show you too. This is something that I just stumbled upon. I was in my coach office. If you double click business, it'll bring you up here and it'll show you where you stand. So as you start qualifying for Star Diamond, it gets confusing as like, well, what week am I on? Am I on week 2, 3? You can go through here and look at where you were for the weeks so that you know how many more weeks you have to qualify. But real quick, to how to find that report, it is in my qualifications. You scroll down, my Elite and Premier qualification. We're going to start posting in VIP Diamonds for you to see that. But basically you go in there, it'll tell you where you're ranked in the entire organization, your previous year's ATV, right? So that was 2015 for me, and my current year's ATV. Again, I'm probably they're going to update that as we ended December. Number of personally sponsored coaches to advance to Diamond in 2016. I had 4, 3 of them at the time of this report. Number of points, again, that advanced team volume. How many points did I get there? Personally sponsored coach PV, here's the amount of points I got there. And then personally sponsored coach success club, how many points I got there. And then total points from there. So that's kind of how you read it. We'll go over it more, but that's at least you know how to find it. It's in my business, my qualifications, my Elite and Premier qualifications. Cool? I know that's a lot of information, but I promise we'll continue to go over it. We just wanted you to have like an awareness of what it is. What's the big end goal for 2017?
Okay, so let's talk dates surrounding that. So first of all, with your Elite report, the first one comes out February 10th. So at the very end of the year, so they just did the last one the 31st. So they pull all the reports, they do final rankings for everyone, and then they kind of close out the year. And then every month, the second Friday of the month, you get your Elite report. So February 10th will be the first one you see. And then the second Friday of every month, it updates for the previous month. So when you see February 10th, you'll know your ranking after January, and so forth and so forth. And then November and December, it updates weekly, because that's kind of like crunch time. That's when magical things are happening or they're not, and you're checking it every single week. So that's kind of where you check your report. So some things to know. So for the deadline, so for Elite, you have to be paid 5-star diamond 1 month in December.
1 week.
1 week, 1 week in December of 2017. It doesn't matter what week. If you happen to be qualifying as a 5-star diamond, then you would have to hold it the 6 weeks prior to the end of the year. So you just have to, in 1 week in December, be a paid 5-star, whether that means your last week is qualification or you hit it earlier in the year, you dropped, you come back, you get paid once, totally doesn't matter. For Premier, same exact parameters, but it's 2-star instead of 5-star. Cool. So that's super important and something that they've changed in the past years. So New Leader Conference is February 9th and 10th of 2018. So even if you don't hit Premier, you can still qualify for New Leader Conference. So you want to make sure that that's on your map. And you also want to make sure if you've got some budding people on your team, maybe they're not Diamond yet, they might not even be on your team yet. New Leader Conference might be something that they can qualify for if they know about it soon enough in their business. Because at the end of the year, you have to end as a 2-star. So December 2017, you need to be a paid 2-star Diamond. And you have to have a minimum of 30 elite points. So to be Premier, you need 135. To attend New Leader Conference, you only need 30. So don't feel like if you're shooting for this monstrous goal and for some reason you fall short, there's still this another amazing opportunity. So it's still super great. So that's New Leader Conference. Those are the qualifications and the deadlines for that. Leadership, which is what I attended in October, that qualification is 5-star Diamond. You have to be a paid 5-star Diamond by the end of September 2017. So this year, the qualification period was like July or something. It was super ridiculous and super hard. So they extended it out. So the actual conference is November 2nd through the 5th in Las Vegas. Put it on your calendar now if that's where you're headed. If you're headed to New Leader in February, put it on your calendar. I had Coronado, California on my calendar for an entire year. And I was like, well, I'm busy that week, so I better get my butt there. But put it, because that helps all that manifesting that we talk about. So that qualification is the end of September. You have to hit 5-star and you have to have at least 20 points. But if you're a 5-star, you're probably going to be at 20 points, so you'll be good to go there. For both of the events, you can qualify for a hotel and travel cash, depending on your level of points, level within the organization ladder, but don't worry about that yet. Other awesome thing about leadership that they're changing from last year. So last year, you could only bring a guest if it was your spouse who happened to also be a personally sponsored coach. This year, your guest can be a 1-star personally sponsored coach. So that's a big factor too. If you get to 1-star and your coach is 5-star and going to leadership, they could potentially bring you as their guest. So that's a big factor to think about. And if you are a 5-star or you're shooting to get to 5-star, you could potentially bring a 1-star guest with you. So it's really kind of opening up the doors to bring more teams, which is really exciting. So that's something new and something to note as well. So those are the big dates around New Leader Conference, around Leadership Retreat, and then when you have to hit #IncentiveFoShow, and then when you have to hit to get your Premier or Elite qualifications. So again, we know this is a lot. We're going to go into the next part, which is kind of like tips and tricks and what we learned this year so that you don't do those mistakes. The dates for New Leadership Conference is February 9th and 10th, and New Leadership FAQ is 3732. The dates for Leadership Retreat, November 2nd through 5th, FAQ 1431. And here's another thing too, to give you some perspective. No matter where you are in your business right now, you figure out which one fits your business better and you go after it. When I set the goal of making it to leadership, I was a 1-star Diamond in December. I had just hit 1-star Diamond and was like, oh, I need to be at leadership by July. So you have even longer. You have 10 months. It's the end of September. You have 10 months. If that's something that you think you want to do, don't count yourself out. If you think that getting to Premier sounds overwhelming, I'm telling you, don't count yourself out. You can do this. Okay, I'm going to let Laura talk.
Okay, so can y'all hear me? Mm-hmm. If you hear fireworks in the background, I live in a very up and coming area. People are still celebrating. So if you hear that, just disregard. Okay, so this past year, I did not hit my goals, which I've definitely sought out to be Premier and Elite, and that did not happen. And so let me tell you kind of a little bit why. So like Jessica said, we did not really realize point systems when we started off. And so my new coaches that I brought on, I pushed them under Scott so he could become Diamond quickly. And so my points were actually going to him whenever I was not getting them. So that's a first reason. Also, sorry. Here, hold on really fast. Sorry, hold on really fast.
She's getting super emotional.
So those fireworks are getting checked out. But I did the same thing. So I got Caleb to diamond very quick at the beginning of last year because I was trying to grow his income base, which is awesome, but it's a double-edged sword. So when you're building your spouse, which Caleb has made a lot of money this year. But he could have stayed at Emerald and still made that money. But I got him to diamond, and I still will get him back to diamond this year because that $14 cycle bonus versus the 18 adds up super quickly with the amount of money that he's making this year. So he needs to be back to diamond like yesterday. However, for elite purposes, stack your personally sponsored coaches first.
For the first 6 months of the year. For the first six months of the year,
stack yourself.
You. Come July, start building a spouse or whoever else.
Because you got to think too, and Laura's going to talk about this whenever she comes back from wherever she went. When you have somebody brand new coming onto your team and you're thinking, okay, I want to be 2-star, 5-star, whatever. First of all, there's not a ton of people who are going to be this in it, who are going to be amongst this group of people, which isn't a bad thing at all. Some people get into the business and they're gung-ho, but they're going to flake for whatever reason. It's not for them. It's harder than they thought. They're moving at a slower pace. X, Y, Z, a million. Doesn't matter. To be like kind of in the group that we're in, we're all in the same game. We are after big things and we're moving fast and we push each other. And you have to pull on people that are kind of in that mindset. But on average, you're looking at 4 to 5 months, coach to diamond. Some people will move faster. Some people will take longer. But that's a good average. And looking at the people that are here, a good average of what you see on our team specifically. Wouldn't you say, Raquel?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
So when you're planning, you got to think about that. So the beginning of the year needs to be hustle times 1,000. Because you're building all that volume, you're building all that team, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of team members that have time to kind of sift themselves out to figure out who are going to be your leaders, who are going to stick it out, who are going to become the diamonds that are going to become the future 2-stars and that are going to grow their own teams as well. So you have to allow yourself time to do that so that you don't get into panic mode and you're like, I need a diamond in 3 weeks, because then you're going to be so stressed and you're not going to be the supportive mentor that you need to be. You're going to be pushing and it's not going to be from a good place, if that makes sense. You want to be that mentor who is there to help and there to motivate and there to give the right amount of push, but not the stressed amount of push. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions so far before Laura comes back?
I'm just going to simplify the point system real quick because it's super confusing. Here's how you get points. You hit Success Club, you get your coaches to hit Success Club, and you teach them how to teach their coaches to do that. Like, we talk about Success Club so much, but this is what this business is about. Hitting Success Club consistently. If you're doing that, if you're teaching your coaches to do that, and they're teaching their coaches to do that, all the points line up. So yes, it's confusing and we're like ATV and whatever, but honestly, it ends and begins with Success Club. So, and I think that's a tangible way to teach people. You should be shooting to help minimum 3 people per month. Minimum.
And then you get your points doubled.
Yeah, and then you get your, I forgot to talk about that. So as your coaches hit Success Club, and if you hit Success Club, then they double your points. So really, that's what we're pushing our team to do. Hit Success Club, you hit Success Club, everyone wins. So.
And Raquel, what she was about to say was that her and I have we kind of got into a bad habit of hitting Success Club like 5 and then kind of backing off, where I would push my points under Caleb or whatever. But now I do that Success Club 10 minimum, and then I will push under Caleb or do whatever, just because I want to be, you have to remember, no problem, J Bo Bo Bo, we will see you later. J Bo 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 times 12. It's your thing. But here's what you have to, and I told Caleb this today because we were talking about our schedules and we both work so much, and kind of aligning like these are the days I'm going to work at night, and we got to have each other's back and blah, blah, blah. You have to be operating at 150% if you want your coaches to operate at 80. Like you just do. You have got to raise the bar so high so that your coaches can operate at a level high enough to see their own potential. There's so few people that are going to be that intrinsically motivated that they don't need you to be a good example. So you have to remember that, because there are those diamonds in the rough that will make or break it depending on what they see in you as their leader. So use that as your motivation to not give up, to push harder, to work when you're tired, because it's 1,000 times worth it. The joy that you see when you change people's lives and see your team change is amazing, but it gets tough and there's ebbs and flow, but you have got to be consistent as glass if you want to rise to that next level. Any questions?
I have one. On the points, the 500 PV per customers, and I think one of them was coaches maybe too. Is that per customer or is that cumulative?
Cumulative.
Yeah, cumulative.
Oh, so you can hit that in 1 month then if you have enough people on.
So every time you hit 500, you get a point.
Yeah.
No matter.
So like, let's say you get.
So if it's a discount coach who's only on Shakeology, they're getting like 90 PV in January, 90 PV in February, 90. And once that equals 500, you get a point. If you get a business builder who's on Shakeology and selling, you could get multiple points depending on how well they do that month. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Or it's like, if you've got 5 discount coaches, and they're consistent with their home direct orders, that's a point a month.
Okay, yeah.
And sometimes it feels like the points aren't, but they feel like they're not very many, but they add up. And they just, those little points here and there. And that's something too, like looking at Success Club points and looking at your team hitting Success Club points. Over the course of the year, one coach could be bringing you 12 points, 24 points. So think of, your top people. I know for me, like Caleb was one of my personally sponsored coaches from 2015. So I had him hit Success Club every month because I knew that would get me at least 12 or at least 24 points. But you max out in that category pretty quickly if you yourself are hitting Success Club, because you're going to get double those points and then you max out in that category.
I have a question.
Yeesh.
Okay, so I'm confused. I've also really tried to understand the elite thing, but what is there a way to see? So I know you can see how you've gotten your points, but like how you've actually gotten your points, like from who? Like, how with Success Club you can see 8 were from customers and 12 were no, nothing?
No, we'll do a tracking document like where you track every month. And we'll post it in the group. I think it's good to see like, okay, last month I was here, this month I was here, because even in the new reports that they give you, it's like the accumulated. But unfortunately, you can't see where they're coming from.
However, if something were to come out, like, let's say your January report comes out in February and you have questions about where the volume came from, you can contact corporate. They can break it down for you.
Yeah.
But you cannot see it in a report. They would have to like pull it and regurgitate it to you. So yes, if something was crazy and you needed to see it, it is possible, but it's not something that you can just like pull up.
Okay, I have another question. So I am planning, I'm going to be 1 star in like 2 weeks or whatever. No big deal. It's happening. Done. Not worried. Okay, so you got to think like that.
Absolutely.
And then I will become 5-star diamond by the end of September. So does that mean I have access to the leadership conference and then the new leadership conference in February, or no?
So here's how that works. If you go to the new leader conference in February and then qualify that same year to go to leadership, you could go to both. But if you went to leadership retreat first, you can't go to new leader. Like, I've never been to new leadership conference, but because I qualified to go to leadership retreat, I cannot go in February.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? So kind of just like fresh, and you're obviously will change as you think, but who right now is thinking of going for Premier?
Duh.
Okay. So everybody's thinking about Premier. Okay. Oh, hey. Yeah, Trisha's trying to hide over there. We see you, girl.
We see you.
So when I look at my elite and premier qualification, that's going to like reset, right? So I see I have 19 points. Like, that's not going to matter. That doesn't matter anymore starting today.
No, you'll see. So that report will stay there until February 10th.
Yeah.
However, on February 10th, it'll start all over.
All fresh.
But if what you're looking at right now, you see that volume number that you see, that's where you have to be. So the faster you get to that number in the year, the faster you earn points in that category.
So my current year's ATV, 12,789. I have to beat that. So
by
it's
10,000.
by
So every time
10,000.
you-
So once
when
you
you
get to
hit
22,000, you've earned a point.
1 point.
Okay. Okay. So
the
that will
faster you
be,
do that, the better.
so it resets February 10th.
You'll get it on
That's
report.
day one for the next year.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is day one, but you'll get your January report, like the month of January, February 10th.
Oh,
Like
okay.
literally
yeah, I was
everybody today, even Melanie Mitro, Bonnie Engel,
starts at
everyone
0.
starts at 0. Like we're all on the same playing field. So whoever's going to be the top 10, anybody could be top 10 right now.
So yeah, and like that's how it, that's how they keep the playing field even, which I really love, because like for you instance, Lisa, your volume is at 12,000, right? And then you're like, even if we just take Raquel's volume was at like what, 500 or something, 500,000. So she has to beat 500,000 where you only have to beat 12, but you're a newer coach with less experience. And so it gives you that leg up. Whereas Melanie Mitro, her volume is probably just ungodly. And she'll probably beat it by February because she's ridiculous. But so those top coaches have such a bigger scale to hit than the newer coaches. So it kind of evens it out. And like Raquel said too, everybody has to get 2 new diamonds. So there was a lot of big coaches this year who didn't get their 2 new diamonds. Maybe they were a 15-star superstar, but they didn't have any diamonds pop in 2016. They can't be elite. Because it forces you to keep your business moving forward, and it forces you to stay in the game. So you can't like just kick your heels up and stop caring about people, which is good. I like that.
That is good.
How many points do you have to have for Premier?
135. It's the same points.
For both. Okay.
It's 2 or 5, 135.
And didn't you say something about you have to have 35 elite points to qualify for Premier? Or you
That is
qualify
if
for
The new leadership.
yeah,
new leader conference. Okay.
yeah.
But in order to qualify for new leadership conference, you have to have 135 Premier and 35 elite.
For new leadership conference, you only need to be a paid 2-star diamond and have at least 30 points.
Elite points or okay.
Yeah, elite points.
Okay.
How much points do you need to have?
You need to have 20 by September, but if you're going for elite, you will have way more than 20 by September.
Yeah. Also, Raquel, can you go back? You may still have it open, sharing that where we see our elite points, because I have questions about that. You have it open still?
Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so I did my business, my qualifications, my elite and premier qualification, and then it'll bring you up to
So out of every coach in Beachbody, you are ranked 180.
Yes.
Okay, and then your total points for the year, scroll to the right a little bit,
Is 152.
Okay, so what is the 211?
That's his premier points, and for some reason, I don't really know the big difference here. Oh, I know. I think you max out, and with premier, you don't max out. Right? Is that right?
Right. So you can reach 135 points faster if you're going for Premier than with Elite, because there is no max on Premier, whereas there is a max on Elite. So
yeah, like halfway through the year, my Success Club, my coaches had hit Success Club, and I had hit Success Club, so it had doubled, and I maxed out this, and so that's why it stopped here. I couldn't earn any extra points here, but it kept going here, which is why I have more in Premier points. That makes sense.
Yes. Okay.
So the caps only apply to Elite.
Okay, and then scroll over for Elite 10 top. What are those? What is
So
So
that?
those are the only categories.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So once if those that are going for like elite top 10, like the top 10 coaches, they don't max out, I believe. Like they're just going. Like see how it is for Premier. There's no max out here. It's the same over here. But they don't take into guess incremental ATV, or I don't even know what that is. But basically, you don't cap. It just keeps going on points for Elite 10.
Okay, so how is it? Okay, I just don't understand why there are separate Premier and Elite points, or is that not necessarily counted?
I don't really know why they have it separate either, honestly. I think that they really want people to hit Premier, and it's hard to get these elite points, but Premier, you can do it. Again, Success Club, have your people hit Success Club, and if you continue to do that every month, you'll earn enough points. Like, look, I only needed 135 to get Premier, and I got 120 in that category alone. You know what I mean? Like, they want you to hit these goals.
Yes. Got it. Thank you, because that really confused me.
I know,
So you
it
can
really is confusing.
So can you hit Premier multiple times, like every year?
You could be Premier this year, you could be Premier next year.
So you just have to still hit those qualifications.
Still have to
That's
hit
it.
those qualifications, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so even though we hit elite, or Jessica technically, but like the team hit
The
elite
team.
this year, are we technically considered elite next year then?
So all year next year will be considered elite.
But we have to hit it
Team
again in order to get to next year.
Yes, so we have to hit it every year. So Raquel and I will be starting over just like you guys. Like now that which lets everyone just knock on some wood. It's not official till they call us this week. Let's just hope we both get a phone call. But once that happens, we'll be elite all year long, but we have to requalify with just like everybody else. So we'll have to pop 2 new diamonds. We will have to hit all the same new points and all that jazz and frass. But
I
don't
thought we
worry.
were elite forever. I was like,
Wouldn't it be nice if it was like lifetime? But it's not. It's not. You got to fight for it. That's why once you hit 5-star, you go into it's a Facebook group called The Wall. And Raquel's been telling me about all these people who are so upset because they're these big dogs in the coaching world, but they didn't hit elite this year because it's a business that you have to keep working at, and it's going to have easy years and hard years. And apparently this year was super hard for people. But Team VIP just over here crushing it.
Laura just bounced. Where'd she go?
I think
Is
Laura
she
got
okay?
sick, so So anything else that we need to cover, Jess? Any other questions that we have?
Yeah. Just questions. So if you have questions, anybody questions before we end and roll? Okay. So first of all, if you want to go for Premier, here's my suggestion. Shoot for elite. Because then you have a much better chance at landing on Premier.
Mm-hmm.
If you are shooting for Premier and you don't shoot for elite, then it's going to be, you might be too easy on yourself. Because then you're like, well, I only need 2 diamonds, and well, I only need this, and I only need this. So go for the big daddy, and then you can always land on Premier, which is amazing, but it's still really hard to hit. So don't take Premier for granted, because it's still really tough to hit. Like Laura was saying, she missed it by this freaking much. And Raquel will tell you, last year she missed it by like a day, like ridiculously close missed it. And so, we learn from those mistakes and we have to move forward, but learn from our mistakes. Don't let that happen to you. If you want to shoot and you want to make sure you're going to hit something, you have to shoot way beyond it.
I have one question. Sorry.
Yes. No,
So,
please.
Even though now, like, none of us will be except for y'all, the rest of the team, none of us will be elite or Premier at Summit, but we can still be recognized if we're shooting for 2-star, 5-star, and we nail it by this cutoff for Summit. We can still walk across the stage as 5-star at Summit.
Correct. And those qualifications are normally at the end of May. Don't quote me, but I think it's normally like the very.
But still, I think we give ourselves May to give us a little bit of like a leeway. But I think
maybe
it's
so.
mid-June, which, walk across the stage and get that recognition at Summit, because that's great.
2-star and above walks.
Mm-hmm.
So anything 2-star and above walks across the stage. So for Summit
But
purposes.
also, can we just say, again, knock on wood, because it hasn't been official, call yourselves an elite freaking team. This is not something that I did on my own, and it's not something Jessica did on her own. Clearly, with all the points, like, even if I had worked my hardest, I couldn't have done it. So when you're saying, come join our elite team, use it. Not every team can say that this year. There's not a lot of teams that can say that. So say it to the world. They don't know what it all is.
And like when you're personally inviting and when you're on the phone and you're talking to people, you've got to let them know that you are part of an elite team, because you are literally an integral part. Like,
Yes,
not just a little bit. Like, without you, we wouldn't be elite.
absolutely.
And so you've got to be confident in what you're bringing to the table, because that's the same thing that you're going to instill in your leaders, and for them to do to keep it going on the team, basically.
Mhm.
Any other questions, comments, excitements, joys?
I was gonna say I can tell a difference with my team already at the end of this year because we were pushing for elite. And I'm not kidding. I had coaches up with me at 10 o'clock at night at the deadline. Jessica and I are texting because something went wrong on my stuff. But I ended up having a coach pull through, like, last minute. A friend signed up as a coach and she became Emerald, which made me become Diamond. But my team, like, I kept all of them in the loop, like, even with my struggle of, like, what was going on. And it made them even more excited and, like, made them feel more a part of it. So,
But I'm so glad you said that, Rochelle, because I feel like that's something that I personally have done a horrible job of doing. I never say what my team goals are, like what I want my team to accomplish. And so I sent my key people, obviously you guys are in there, this is what I'm shooting for. This is what I've been pushing for all year. And, like, this is where we are and this is what we need. And it's just so much easier to push when everybody's on the same page. I feel like sometimes we're on an island and you're, like, hiding your little secret goals. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to say it because if I miss it, that's going to be awful. Or I don't want people to think like I'm being selfish. But then I realized, you know what? If we are elite, it means everybody's making more money. It means everybody's pushing harder. It means everybody's downlines are pushing harder. So it's just this amazing thing that pulls us all together. And I think that for you as leaders on your team, you have to turn to your people and do the same thing. Like, you've got to get your team members excited, whether that's that you want to be a 2-star team by the time you hit summit, or it's that you want to let them know about your overall year goal, whatever that might be. But have goals that your team can hit and celebrate, because it pulls everybody together. And that's a huge mistake that I've made. And I want to do a better job of that.
For sure.
Have you all made your vision boards?
No, I was about to ask about that. Why are you reading my mind, Jessica? Get out of there. God. Creepy? I seriously, okay, so I made a vision board early last year and I never revised it because I get annoyed really easily with, like, imperfections, so I'll just avoid it altogether. So yeah, I haven't made a vision board, so I've been, like, writing down my visions, but it doesn't work for me. I don't know. So I need help with visions. I don't know if anyone else needs help with their vision boards. I just don't even know where to start again.
I would just come up with categories. Like, that's what I do. I think of, like, family. I think of business. I think of, like, faith, my kids, financial, and then I just, like, go. And I still feel like I add things to it. I'm, like, looking at mine right now. But I don't know if that's just how my mind works in, like, segments of my life. And then I just go, okay, for my marriage, what is it that I'm, like, looking for? Like, what's my vision for our marriage this right now? Or with my kids, or, does that make sense? I don't know. That's how it helps me. I segment my life.
And I think looking at other people's gets your wheels turning. So, like, when you have yours, share it on Team VIP, because I think it motivates a lot of people to get theirs rolling, and share it in your challenge groups, because your challengers need to be making theirs too. Like, there's so many challengers that are starting with us this week that have such huge goals for 2017, and you help them to, like, set a different stage so that they're in a totally different routine than they were at the beginning of January last year. But those vision boards help so much. So share it in VIP, because looking at other people's makes you think, oh yeah, I totally want that too. Or, oh, that reminds me of this big thing that I want to make sure I'm pushing for. I don't know.
So I actually was having a hard time coming up with my vision board. And I kind of sat down, I guess it was on Thursday or Friday, and I just kind of looked on Pinterest and I was like, how do you, like, create a vision board? And I found this, I don't know who the author of the book was, but someone had kind of blogged about how they created their vision board. And it's similar to what Raquel was saying. And so they kind of broke it down into 10 categories, and it fit really well with kind of how we work with Beachbody. And so the categories were family and friends, personal development, spirituality, finances, business, romance, fun and recreation, giving, health and fitness, and then your physical environment. And so I took that and just kind of went with it. And it was really, I mean, I came up with a lot of different things that I didn't think of on my own. So it kind of was a good prompt for me to go with. So that was super
Type
helpful.
that in the chat.
Yeah.
Or put
definitely.
it in VIP diamonds. We put in VIP diamonds.
Yeah, because the chat will go away when we close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I'm going to steal that.
I have a downline question.
Yes.
So in order to be 5-star, you have to have 2 on one leg and 3 on the other.
So you'll put
Yes.
2 on your strong and 3 on the other.
Okay.
But we'll talk about this, but you'll also probably be another diamond for yourself.
Second
Once you
business
get
step.
Haley and Jackie,
Yeah,
you're gonna
they're
plug
on.
under your husband, and you'll get yourself back to diamond, and you'll count as a diamond.
Okay. I thought, but Ryan is on my weak leg.
Mm-hmm. So you could build him too. He could be another diamond if you wanted.
Okay.
So you can kind of see how it plays out.
On my strong leg, once
You
I
need
had
another
5.
business builder, but you have your mom.
Okay.
You got
And here's
volume is
that too. It's kind of tough to know who's going to build a diamond when you're putting people on your strong and weak leg. But remember this: you cannot advance to 5-star. You could have 5 diamonds on your weak leg. You cannot advance to 5-star without 2 on your strong and 2 on your weak, or 2 on each leg, depending on, some of us don't have some of us are more evenly balanced. You still have to have 2 on each side.
Okay.
So plan for at least 3 on each side,
Agreed.
because if you only have 2 that you're banking on and 1 drops, you are SOL.
Okay.
So I have to work on putting at least maybe another diamond or 2 on my strong leg, because I have some more coming on my weak leg, but I have no business focus on my strong leg because I did not prepare for that. And now I'm kicking myself.
Okay.
So you have to just strategize sooner. And so now I swear it's like the death leg. Every time I put a coach on my strong leg, they refuse to work the business. So I'm like, man, what is happening over there? So that's my big goal for 2017 is I've got to push some people over to my strong leg to just have some backup diamonds. Because once you start to get to 2-star diamond, if you hold for 6 weeks within each quarter, you qualify for a 2-star bonus. Same thing with 5-star. But every time, 2-star bonus is normally like $800-900 average, and 5-star bonus is normally somewhere around $3,000. So it's a pretty penny. But you have to hold 5-star for 6 weeks out of each quarter,
Okay.
or
So
2-star.
How do you then so I've been putting all of my coaches on my weak leg because there's like a 30,000 difference between my strong leg volume and my weak leg volume.
Yeah, it's kind of a curse.
Do I start putting coaches on, business building coaches on my right now?
Yes. Well,
let's
you
just
still
chat
go
about
back and
that.
forth.
We're
Okay,
going to
I'm
chat about
gonna
that.
assign somebody up to talk to you about it.
Yes,
talk about it.
because it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who you've got.
But then after that, do you ever have to have more than 2 on one leg?
Yeah, if you want to get to
10-star.
10
Once you're 5-star? You said 3.
You cut out. If
Okay.
you want to be 10-star, you have to have 5. To be 10-star and above, 15-star, you just have to have 5 and 10. But we'll talk
Okay,
about
so
that
5
too.
is the max number.
Yes, but depending on your personal business, just talk
Talk
to
to
us wherever you're in your business, because some of us have a super strong leg, some of us don't. So some of us, income wise, it's better to push for that 10-star. Some of us, it's not. So income wise, you may never want to get to 10-star, and that's okay. Just as you grow, we will go down that path.
It was something about you get to 2-star, you open a second business center, that second business center gets to 2-star, and then you open another one, and then you're just building volume in those patches, and that's how so you could have multiple business centers and never get to 5-star.
Right. Because for instance, when you have a second business center and someone in that business center goes diamond, it does not count as a diamond for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Your second business center would go 1 star, but you would not move your diamond. So, yeah.
Okay.
So you may
That's
end
a
up
really good
having,
thing.
you may have 20 diamonds in your career, or but maybe only 8 of them are in your first business center, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think like Amy Silverman has like 16, 19 diamonds, but her officially, she's a 9-star diamond coach, just sort of how she's built her business. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
All of our wheels are turning about that. We're like,
It's so much. It blows my marbles. Don't overthink it. Literally, get your stuff to Success Club. Get your coaches to Success Club. I overthink it so much, and I spend just too much time looking at all the options. Focus on the small stuff, and everything will fall into place. Okay. Any other questions before we switch over to our next call? Okay. Well, see you in 30 seconds.